back for our 5 best player props for week number 6 of the NFL season. If you want to see our best money line and spreads predictions or best bets, we posted those earlier in the day. That is linked in the description down below. But again, this is our 5 best player props for week number 6 of the NFL season. Now, folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more weekly NFL content here on the channel. We have our weekly NFL predictions every single Tuesday, and then on Saturdays, of course, both money lines and spread predictions are best bets again, plus the best player props. Also on the channel daily, our MLB best bets and our college football best bets as well. Make sure to go check those out again weekly here on the channel, and our MLB best bets. Got that out of order as we get on now to the first of our 5 best player props here for week number 6 of the NFL season, kicking things off between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Miami Dolphins. So we're hunting value, obviously, with the best player props. And I think this may be the best value play of the week. Kamani Vidal over 30.5 rushing yards. Now, okay, we're taking a guy in Kamani Vidal who just came off the practice squad last week for the Los Angeles Chargers. And Vidal this season's ran the ball 4 times, all of which came in that game last week against the Washington Commanders on Fox. Vidal runs the ball 4 times for 18 yards. He's a long of 11 yards on a rush. Okay, the reason we're doing this is because obviously Amarian Hampton's out for multiple weeks. Najee Harris is out for the entire season. And how much are the Chargers really going to ask out of Hassan Haskins? Guys, the way I see it, I know Haskins is a Michigan guy, he's a Harbaugh guy, so it's always made sense. I think Haskins is going to be more of a pass-catching back than Kamani Vidal is going to be. I mean, again, very limited sample size, but I feel like they're going to use Haskins at least more out, sending him out on pass-catching abilities than Kamani Vidal. I mean, Vidal's quicker, and he is more of a typical third down back. But I don't know. I mean, just watching the way that they've played so far, and again, we are not basing this off of much. I'll be completely honest with you. But again, Vidal's like 5'8", and Hassan Haskins is 6'2". I completely understand that. However, look at what Vidal's done so far in his 4 carries. I know we're going at grasping at straws a little bit here, but hear me out. 4 carries, 18 yards. Hassan Haskins, 5 carries for 13 yards. Now, okay, here's the thing. I just believe Kamani Vidal is going to get more reps. I think so. I think they're going to start using Kamani Vidal a lot more than Hassan Haskins. And I also believe, too, okay, yeah, even if, again, regardless of who they're going to use as a third down back and a pass-catching back, again, I think that doesn't really matter. I just think Kamani Vidal is going to be in a lot of spots where they can catch the Dolphins off guard. It's not a great Miami defense. It's a defense that's given up big yards to running backs like James Cook, Breece Hall. Saw quite a bit of success running the football and just all around against the Miami Dolphins as well. And this is a football game where I expect the Los Angeles Chargers to be up. So I expect both running backs to get quite a bit of run. And Hassan Haskins' line, I think, is like 38.5 this week, and Kamani Vidal sitting at 30.5. Guys, I don't think one guy or the other is going to get like way more reps than the other, way more snaps than the other. I think it's going to be almost identical. So I'm going to take the guy who's got the lower line. And again, I think they can both be used as pass catching backs and straight, down backs as well. So again, I don't think my assessment at the very beginning of this best bet or this portion of the video was truly accurate, but hear me out. Again, Vidal has been better out the backfield so far than Hassan Haskins. Now, obviously, again, both of these guys do different things, but I think in a game where they're playing Miami, I think you're able to catch the Dolphins off guard more personally with Kamani Vidal, and I believe more is just going to open up for Kamani Vidal than it is for Hassan Haskins. And asking a running back who's going to see likely at least 9 carries, 10 carries, I believe, in Kamani Vidal to get 30 yards. I mean, you're not asking him to get much. And it's not like we're playing an elite defense. It's not like this is the Cleveland Browns. It's not the Denver Broncos. It's the Miami Dolphins. Now, do I expect a big Justin Herbert day this week out of the Chargers? 100%. I think Herbert's going to be huge. I mean, Los Angeles is coming off back-to-back losses, but, when Amarian Hampton was having his best days, he was running for 130 yards, 70 yards, 50 yards against the Chiefs. They're going to have to establish some form of the run, especially when your pass game's not where you want it to be, and that's not any of the fault of Justin Herbert. Again, if man strikes again, but I hate to say it, it's the truth. I mean, when you can't pass block for the guy, when you're when your tight end is dropping balls, when Quentin Johnston's fumbling, how much more do you want Justin Herbert to do? So to alleviate the pressure off of Justin Herbert just a little bit, yeah, let's establish somewhat of a run game. That's all I'm saying here. Let's establish someone of a run game, and whether that be Vidal or Haskins, I think both of them are going to get someone involved, and it's against a bad defense at that too. So again, I just think the value is too good to pass up on. I believe the Chargers are going to use Vidal quite a bit, to the point where I think eventually he's going to take over Hassan Haskins. Hassan Haskins feels like he's been around the league for quite a bit at this point. He's 25. He was drafted in 22. Vidal was drafted in 2024. He's 24 years of age. But I think Vidal, again, to me, kind of feels like the better NFL back. Haskins has been around a little bit in the NFL, never really seen too much success. I mean, this is a guy who averages about 2.5 yards a carry so far in the National Football League across both the Tennessee Titans and the Los Angeles Chargers. Vidal last season, averaged 3.5 yards a carry, 43 carries for 155 yards last year for the Los Angeles Chargers. I think he's a guy who can be really big for them in this game, especially against a bad run defense in the Miami Dolphins. So I'm going to go Kamani Vidal over 30.5 rushing yards this week on the road for the Los Angeles Chargers against the Miami Dolphins. On now to our second best player prop of the week. Let's go to the best receiver in the National Football League. Is that what we need to call Puka Nacua? Because it's kind of what he is. Now, again, pure talent-wise, is Justin Jefferson the better receiver? Sure, I will say that. Like, if I'm picking any receiver in the National Football League that I want on my team, I am taking Justin Jefferson number 1. I believe I'm taking Puka Nacua number 2 now. Maybe 3, Jamar Chase still, and obviously, again, you got to look at both of Jefferson and Chase all the time as the 2 elite receivers in the National Football League. You can't say, nobody can tell me Puka Nacua is not number 3, though. And I get it, Puka gets way more targets than anybody else in the National Football League, way more receptions than anybody else in the NFL. We're going to use that to our advantage. It is classic Matthew Stafford football. I know who my best receiver is. I'm going to stare him down, and I'm going to make sure he gets the football. It's what happened with Calvin Johnson. It happened with Cooper Kupp. And now here he is. Stafford has been given the luxury. Well, I know, again, he played in Detroit for some time, even without Calvin Johnson, so it's not entirely a luxury. But he's been afforded the ability to play with elite wide receivers throughout his career. And Puka Nacua so far in 2025 is having an elite season. In 5 games, Puka Nacua has 588 yards. Last week against the San Francisco 49ers, it's his worst game of the season, and he's still at 85 yards. Again, we need 95 and 96 this week. It's something he's achieved in 3 out of his 5 games. Look who they're playing this week. I don't care the game is on the road, it's in Baltimore. I don't give a damn. They're playing the Baltimore Ravens, and they're playing a defeated Baltimore Ravens team at that, too. A team with Cooper Rush as their starting quarterback, a Baltimore Ravens team last week that lost 44-10 to the Baltimore Ravens. I know what you can say about Houston, or about, I guess, the Ravens defense, slash what CJ Stroud did as the starting quarterback last week for the Texans. He did throw for 4 touchdowns, but Nico Collins, the number 1 receiver for Houston, only had 52 yards. The overall number 1, yardage receiver last week for the Houston Texans was Christian Kirk. He only had 64 yards. Well, it's a different style when Matthew Stafford walks onto the field. It just is, okay? There's no other way to put it. When Matthew Stafford steps on a football field, you know what the game plan is. I'm getting the football to my number 1 receiver, and there is not a damn thing anybody can do about it. It's straight simple. So you see Houston score 44 points, and sure, that's a result of, again, CJ Stroud having a really good game, the best game he's had so far in 2025. You see Nick Chubb have a pretty good game on the ground, ruining the Woody Marks, run. Thanks, Houston. That was great. We all picked up Woody Marks in fantasy for no reason. Awesome. Used my waiver on him, but it's okay. Used my number 2 waiver in the league on him. It's fine. But you see the Texans dominate. That's great. That's the Texans' form of domination. Everyone getting the football, them scoring 44 points. Well, yeah, cool. You know what the Rams style of domination is? Yeah, Puka Nacua getting the football. That's what Matthew Stafford's version of domination is. Getting Puka Nacua the football. Guys, Puka Nacua, in 5 games so far this year, already has 60-plus targets. Matthew Stafford right now, by the way, is the number 1 passer in the NFL in terms of yards. But Puka Nacua has 62 targets in 5 games. For reference, Chris Olave is number 2 at 54, but he plays on the Saints. It's 54 targets, 33 catches. Guys, Puka Nacua has 62 targets and 52 catches. Every ball thrown his way is being caught. It's a huge part of the Rams offense. No, it is the Rams offense. It is get Puka Nacua the football. It's insanity that he only has 2 touchdowns. but he by far out-targets everybody else in the National Football League, so expect him to get the ball this week against a Baltimore team that is very injured, in a secondary and a defense that is all around very injured. I wonder who's going to get the ball a million times. Again, we mentioned how Houston wants to dominate. Okay, the Texans last week went into Baltimore, and that's their style of domination. The Rams style of domination and Matthew Stafford's version of domination is getting Puka Nacua the football. So this game is going to be a blowout, but still, Puka Nacua is going to dominate. The Rams are going to get him the football. Again, to make it a blowout, you have to start scoring, obviously, early in the football game, and those scores are going to go to, right now, the number one receiver in all of the National Football League, and that is Puka Nacua. What a year he has had. We either thought Puka Nacua was either going to, we either thought he was going to blow up this season and be incredible, or have the worst year of his career, obviously, after what happened to the guy in the offseason. Same thing can be said about, I guess, Ilya Taporia. Either Ilya runs through Gagey, or we see the worst version of him. Again, very similar circumstances with Puka Nacua and Ilya Taporia. But regardless, Puka Nacua goes out there. He's going to get 96 receiving yards. Is that asking a lot out of an individual receiver? It is. It doesn't matter when you're, one of the best receivers in the world. Give me Puka Nacua over 95.5 receiving yards on the road in Baltimore against right now the lowly Lamar Jackson-less Baltimore Ravens, again, a team that's just given up without their leader and former multiple-time most valuable player. Okay, on to our third best bet of the video. Ho-ho, Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, if you don't think he's great, then you're wacko. Had to do it, man. I had to do it. So early in the week when I made my predictions video, I was talking about, and I promise you, I was recording that video before the trade happened with Joe Flacco, but I was talking about the Bengals, and I was saying, Bengals are in Green Bay, Jake Browning is starting again. Why haven't they tried to trade for Russell Wilson, a Jameis Winston, an Andy Dalton, reunion? Shedeur Sanders. I mean, Kirk Cousins. There are veteran quarterbacks around the league. Kenny Pickett. There are guys that are available. And then I was like, oh, wait, what about Joe Flacco, too? Not knowing that, less than 12 hours after I made that video, Joe Flacco was actually going to be traded at 40 years of age, the first time in over 25 years the Cincinnati Bengals and Cleveland Browns have made a trade. Yeah, that Joe Flacco was going to be the new starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Caught me by surprise, and I'm telling you, the Pat McAfee and crew's reaction to when Joe Flacco got traded to the Bengals was the funniest thing ever. It's like, we have some breaking news, and they all start laughing. Joe Flacco has been traded. It's insane, guys. He's inevitable. I mean, you cannot get rid of Joe Flacco in the National Football League. Odd bit of news here, but Joe Flacco is going to be well on his way now to pass Russell Wilson in terms of all-time passing yards, and if Russ never lands another starting job, which, I don't know, he just got booed off the field in East Rutherford on Thursday night, maybe Joe Flacco's going to end his career with more passing yards than Russell Wilson, and he's less than 500 yards from passing Fran Tarkenton in all-time passing yards, which would put Joe Flacco in the top 15 all-time. Just saying. Some big stuff out of Joe Flacco. This week, I'm only asking Joe Flacco to get 208 yards. Guys, is Joe Flacco going to put up some damn numbers with this team? Yeah, because, guys, the Joe Flacco we've seen in Cleveland, yeah, he was airing it out, but there's always some sort of a run game. Obviously, Quinshaw Judkins now back in the first Joe Flacco tenure. Obviously, with the Browns, it was the two-headed monster of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Actually, no, it was just Kareem Hunt because Nick Chubb was injured that year. But, or got injured early in the season. And then when Joe Flacco was in Indianapolis last year starting, it was Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, there's no running back on this team. It's Chase Brown, but I believe Chase Brown's production is going to 100% come in the pass game. They're going to let this guy throw the ball, and they're going to let him throw the ball all game long. There's a reason they brought Joe Flacco in, guys. And Zach Taylor said it himself, like, Flacco just fits our scheme. Flacco fits what we want to do. So, yeah, Joe Flacco is going to air it out all game long. And, yeah, his stats weren't great in Cleveland, but his two best threats were tight ends plus Jerry Jeudy. His threats here are, you get Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and Chase Brown, who can be really good out the backfield catching the football. Hilarious. Guys, I might need to buy me a Joe Flacco number 16 Bengals jersey, I think I need to buy one. I saw the Bengals Twitter page posted a video of them making the jersey hot off the press. They're posting it like Joe Flacco's their first round draft pick, but sign me up, man. I'm excited for Cincinnati Bengals football. Am I concerned about the offensive line? Oh, 100%. Screw it. Send Jamar Chase on a go ball, one step. All right, let it go. If I know anything about Joe Flacco, is that he's going to air it out. Okay? I know he's only been in Cincinnati for a couple days. They traded for him on Tuesday, didn't start practicing till Wednesday. Bro legitimately got really 2 good practices in with the team. Doesn't matter. They traded for him because they also said, the guy who's also beat the Packers before this season. Yeah, the Packers have 1 loss. It's Joe Flacco. So if Joe Flacco can beat the Packers twice in 20 days, oh my goodness. Sign me up, man. It's hilarious stuff. Joe Flacco's, I'm not telling you he's going to beat the Packers, but expect the Bengals to find themselves in a hole in this game. It doesn't matter. Like, they don't run the ball. They haven't been able to run the ball all year long. That doesn't change with Flacco. The only thing that changes with Flacco in terms of a Chase Brown perspective is, okay, they're just going to throw it to him now more. Like, I mean, nothing changes with the Bengals other than the fact that time to air it out, Joe. I mean, it's going to be hilarious stuff. I can't wait. Like, I'm telling you. Joe Flacco, Cincinnati Bengals football this year is going to be hilarious until Joe Burrow comes back. There's a chance they're not even going to be in the playoff picture when Burrow comes back. So they're probably, I think it's a very good chance they just tell Burrow, there's no reason to come back for 2 games at the end of the year. And Flacco just keeps airing it out. I'm so excited for Joe Flacco football. I'm so serious. Like, I was excited for him on the Browns, but now it's like, we're going to watch Flacco put up 300 yards every single week at 40 years of age and keep climbing the ranks, guys. I mean, there's a chance, again, not to get too into the all-time passing yards thing, but guys, if Joe Flacco has a really good end of the year, there's a chance he could pass Warren Moon on the all-time passing yards, which would just be hilarious. I mean, then give Flacco another year, and he's passing John Elway. Come on now. Joe Flacco. Over 207.5 passing yards on the road in Green Bay. I don't care. The Packers defense is good. Yeah, Joe Flacco's going to attempt 50 passes this week. I'm going to take the number. Next up, let's go to Tampa. Yes, we talked about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quite a bit on the channel for good reason. This team is very good, and I said at the beginning of the season they're very good. I told you to take them to win the NFC South at the beginning of the season because they were undervalued because everyone was, oh, look at the Falcons. Oh, the Falcons are going to win the division every year. Fell for it again. Anyways, I had to throw one at the Falcons real quick. Sterling Shepard. I know this might not be a popular pick this week. Maybe it is. I don't know. Sterling Shepard over 31.5 receiving yards. Guys, Sterling Shepard, his role diminished when Chris Godwin came back because ultimately Chris Godwin just does everything Sterling Shepard kind of does and just better. Sterling Shepard is not the youngest. He's 32 years of age, obviously. Played a million years with the New York Football Giants. Yes, played with Eli Manning at one point in time. Sterling Shepard played with Eli Manning. He didn't. He wasn't with the Bucs yet with Brady. He came the year after, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he didn't. But regardless, Sterling Shepard played with Eli Manning and then Daniel Jones. But what I'm getting to here is Shepard at 32 years of age doesn't really do anything better than Chris Godwin. That might sound harsh, but it's the truth. So when Godwin came back in week number 4, there wasn't really a need for Sterling Shepard, and his role goes from 80 yards in the Jets game in week number 3 to 14 yards on 2 catches against the Eagles. Last week, obviously, Sterling Shepard is the game-winning grab, but he only has 4 catches for 24 yards. He was used a lot in short yardage spots, and it is what it is. Yeah, Chris Godwin's not playing this week. Sterling Shepard's receiver 2. You're telling me the number 2 receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will not go out there and get 32 yards? I find that hard to believe. I think Tez Johnson's going to be used some. I think Ryan Miller is going to have to be used some. Again, look back at that Texans game where, well, not Tez Johnson, he was just used a lot last week, but you saw, obviously, right, Ryan Walker used a lot in the Texans game. I think Tez Johnson's going to be number 3. Shepard's obviously number 2, though. I mean, the Bucs, they will trot out 3 receivers most of the game. I mean, maybe it'll be a little different this week, but I mean, when they are healthy, they're going to be trotting out Evans, Godwin, and Ibuka all the time. You're going to see a lot of Ibuka, Shepard, and Tez Johnson this week. And I believe, if you're going to go watch our money lines and spreads video from earlier in the day, I believe Tampa's going to cover at home against the injured 49ers. Again, both these teams are injured, but I still believe Tampa's going to win, even with them being without Bucky Irving. But that's another thing, too. Like, they can't rely on the run game at all. I mean, I like Rachaad White, but he's nowhere near the straight-down running back Bucky Irving is. Rachaad White's more of a pass-catching back. I know Sean Taylor does that even more than Rachaad White, but that's, again, going to my point. This is a game where Baker's going to have to launch it a million times. Eventually, the ball is going to end up in Sterling Shepard's hands. Eventually, it's going to. Just a given, you know? Shepard, again, early in the season was used so much. Week 1 against the Falcons, 3 catches, 39 yards on 6 targets. Against the Texans, 4 catches, 4 targets, 34 yards. Jets, 4 catches, 5 targets, 80 yards. And again, a lesser role in the last 2 weeks. But I'm telling you, without Chris Godwin in the lineup, there's the role for Sterling Shepard. Now, Shepard is benefiting a lot right now with injuries. Again, Godwin, Evans, and don't forget the second-year man out of the University of Washington, J-Mac. Jalen McMillan is still injured. He's on the IR for the first half of the year. But okay, the 32-year-old Sterling Shepard continues to find spots, and he continues to find roles in this offense. Okay. I mean, I think this is another 300-plus yard day at Baker Mayfield. So why wouldn't Sterling Shepard be able to go out here and get at least 32 of those yards? Right? I mean, Tez Johnson had a big game last week. Do not get me wrong. Tez Johnson had 60 yards. Emeka Ibuka had 100 yards. Guys, both of those things can still happen. Ibuka can go over 100. Tez Johnson can go over 60. And the third receiver, who is probably number 2 still, Sterling Shepard, can go out there and still find 31 yards. This is automatic for me, man, 32 yards. Sterling Shepard over 31.5 receiving yards at home against the San Francisco 49ers. Sign me up for Sterling Shepard. On to our final best player prop of the week. We go to Monday Night Football. This line's too low for Josh Allen. It just is. I mean, 229 yards for the best player in the sport. Now, Baker Mayfield arguably is making the case to be the best player in the National Football League. He is. But Josh Allen all around is the best player in the league, and that goes without saying, obviously. This is a guy who's, obviously in terms of the odds, he's projected to go win the MVP this season. I believe that should be Baker Mayfield. But what I'm getting to here is asking Josh Allen to get this many yards is not that big of a deal. And I know what you're thinking. The Falcons haven't given up 229 yards all year long. Okay. The Bucs struggled week 1. They ran the ball quite a bit. I'm going to bat a blind eye to that. Eliminate that game. Next, week 2, J.J. McCarthy threw for 150 yards. He looked horrible. Second start of his career. Don't care. Panthers game, Bryce Young threw for 120 yards. Well, his team was winning by 30 points, and the Falcons kept turning over the football, and the run game was working so well for Carolina. Don't care about that. Last week for the Falcons against the Commanders, they're playing a backup quarterback in Marcus Mariota and a run-heavy Commanders team. Don't care. Here comes Josh Allen, who's the best player in the sport. Josh Allen so far this year has gone over this line twice. But look at last week. 253 yards for Josh Allen on 22 of 31 passing. I actually believe this game is going to be somewhat close. I will say that. I think the game's going to be kind of close because Bills on the road, they're coming off a game. Again, I think they beat the Atlanta Falcons, but I do believe it's going to be a game where the Falcons are going to have to dig somewhat deep. Sorry, the Bills are going to have to dig somewhat deep to win it. I'm not a big fan of Atlanta. I think Atlanta's overrated every single year. I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're nearly as good as the best team in the NFC South and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I say that every single time I come on here and talk about the Atlanta Falcons. However, I think with the Bills going on the road in a Monday night primetime spot, it's kind of difficult. I cannot lie. That's fine. We want the game to be difficult. Now, I think, again, the run game is going to be there for Buffalo with both Josh Allen and obviously, James Cook too. But going to have to throw the ball eventually. I mean, it's just, I think the Falcons are going to be able to score enough. I mean, I'm looking at this Bills defense, and ultimately, the Bills defense right now is, to me, that's going to hold them back in the playoffs. Do I think they're still in the AFC? Probably. Look how weak the AFC is right now. But I don't know. Maybe the Chargers, maybe the Broncos get them. Maybe the Colts or the Jaguars, right? The 2 teams out the South get them. I don't know. And no, not the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are going to miss the postseason. But the Bills, their defense is going to give up points, even against a mid-offense in the Falcons. Oh, Michael Penix threw for 300 yards last week. He did. And I like Michael Penix. I'm just not sold on everything else around that squad. And that's, again, Penix's really only good game so far this season. But what I'm getting to at this point about Atlanta is that I think they're going to score against a mediocre Bills defense. And I'm not buying into this Atlanta defense hype right now. I'm just not. I think again, Buffalo's a good offense. They can score against anybody. Even when, the Ravens, I know the Ravens have turned out to be a pretty piss poor defense this season. week one, that was supposed to be a really good defense, and Josh Allen melted them. Obviously, threw for 200 yards against them in just the fourth quarter. So I'm not really concerned here. And I said this last week when we had Josh Allen rushing yards in it, cash against the Patriots. Josh Allen shows up in primetime spots. He shows up in big time spots. That's exactly what this is. Again, you're coming off a loss, first loss of the year in a game that you probably shouldn't have lost to Stephon Diggs and the New England Patriots and Drake May at home at Orchard Park. You now got to go on the road after a game in which Josh Allen said he said it himself, they played sloppy in. You got to come back in a big time spot. Josh Allen will carry this team to victory. He will force this team to win this football game, and he will definitely find a way. And if Josh Allen's going to find a way, the yards will come with it. Josh Allen over 228.5 passing yards. You're going to only need 229 to win. I like the line a lot. Josh Allen, the best player in the league, the reigning defending most valuable player, will find a way to get it done. Give me Josh Allen over 228.5 passing yards on the road in Atlanta on Monday Night Football. Folks, thank y'all for watching our NFL best bets or best player props, for week number 6. If you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you did this great day in the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.